From the 305 to the 303, welcome to TCSP. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Brian and the Casually Serious Band. I'm willing to bet you are 100% correct that we have absolutely no viewers tonight. We've got a couple watching right now. I think we've got them on simply because they got the notifications. But you know, when we screw off and we live our life and we forget to go on Tuesday and decide to drop it on a Wednesday, we just can't expect everyone to not get groceries tonight or whatever the hell they do on Wednesday nights. Sorry,
but we're not interfering with Taco Tuesday at least tonight.
See?
There's always positives, dude.
See how we're thinking ahead all the time?
Always positives.
So, you know, we've been staying in, we decided this show we're going to stay in the vein of
blood.
Horror.
There's blood everywhere. There's blood on my desk. There's blood on the walls. There's blood everywhere. Like, we went a little overboard, I think, on this one with just blood all over the place. Just way too much. I think, you know, maybe. I mean, it's cool. It's the theme of October. I love it, but it's kind of messy, man.
Listen, I can't get away from it. I was born on Devil's Night. All right.
You were.
I am a big fan of all things horror and gore. It just for fun too, not because I'm really into that shit. I'm just saying, I dig it, which is why I love bands like Kiss and Slipknot and, you know, Mudvayne and shit like that.
Yeah,
I'm all about the bloody theatrics and whatnot. So this is my favorite time of year. Besides the fact that I remember growing up in Miami and just starting to feeling that cold breeze, like the cold breeze starts coming in October.
Oh yeah.
And I always used to think that I felt good because it was my birthday, which might be the case, but really the weather started getting really nice in South Florida at that time, and it does the same thing out here in Denver.
Right, the drop of like that, you know, from 89% humidity to 64% humidity makes a real big difference here in South Florida. Definitely.
No doubt.
We're liking it.
So we've decided, I think last week we went with the best horror, at least in our opinion, what we thought were our top five, top five horror films. So in the same vein, we decided since we covered the movies, why don't we cover the actual villains? And you know, we've got a list of, I think, probably some obvious ones and maybe not so obvious ones. We don't have really not a lot on here, honestly. But we'll talk a little bit longer than we will show pictures, I guess. But you know, we've got
people know these people for the most part. I think people know the ones we're going to talk about. I think. You know, it's just if they agree or not, you know.
We'll roll with the ones that we were talking about, and then I will save the one that you said was your number one.
Okay.
Which was okay. I got it.
Well, don't say it.
I'm not gonna. I had to say it. I blanked in my head. I said it to myself. Bing! I didn't do it, and nobody saw it.
Bueno.
So, you know what? Why don't we just start with this freaking guy?
Oh yeah.
Why don't we just start with Freddy Krueger?
Yeah, always good. Always good to start with that guy.
I mean, I don't think you can go wrong with a burned pedophile as being a terrifying, horrifying creature of horror films. I mean, this guy, I think, he takes the cake in a lot of different ways. He's able to sort of, the shitty thing about him is he gets you when you sleep, which, you know, if you try and avoid sleep, it eventually will catch up to you, which means Freddy will always catch up to you. And that's just some shit, man. I think I dug the first three and not number two so much, but I loved one and I loved Dream Warriors. The sort of homoerotic thing they had going in the second one missed me, but they came right back with a vengeance.
I agree.
Dream Warriors and Dawkins and all that good shit made it all happen. And what did you think about Freddy? Do you think he's sort of has to be on that list because he's grandfathered in?
Definitely. I mean, because he also had the difference with him was there was more personality to this guy, you know. Yeah. So, you know, a lot of these guys, they're not going to say a lot. They're not going to let you in too much. So with Freddy, I mean, he tried to be funny. He did a lot of different stuff like that.
He talked shit, man.
He would absolutely talk shit to people that he was eventually going to kill. So, and he was, you know, almost completely invulnerable. So it was just, unless you brought him into the real world, that was like his only place that, you know, he could be vulnerable or be destroyed. Just the thought of what he was, and then the way he portrayed that, I thought was absolutely freaky. I mean, as you know, a teenager at that time, or young teenager when those movies came out, that absolutely Freddy was freaking me out, but in a different way, because he was able to kind of talk to the people he was going to kill, and he was able to almost have weird banter with them, and it just made the kills different than it was with a lot of these flicks where these guys just show up, and slasher movies are just taking their victims out. So but in a way, it also made it for me to why he wasn't the absolute scariest one, because of that, because we knew so much about him. Like, the less mysterious, I think, makes him a little less scary in a weird way. It was just how vulnerable the victims were, because we can all relate to that. We're going to get tired. We're going to fall asleep. And that's when he's going to get you. So that obviously was the scariest part about it. But him himself as a villain, because we knew so much about him, and he would talk so much about, you know, just himself almost, and try to be funny, it made him a little less scary, and just against some of these other ones. So I'm glad we put him kind of in the beginning of the show.
Yeah, he needed to be. I think he just needed to be on the list, because look, it's not just because Nightmare on Elm Street is a horror franchise. We can name probably 3 or 4 horror franchises that have 5 or more movies that suck, you know. But some of these are actually pretty good. They got creative in some ways. I don't think I saw the remake. Let me tell you, man, I'm a purist when it comes to bands. I'm a purist when it comes to my horror films. The only one I strayed from was Rob Zombie's versions of Halloween, which I think are a must-see.
They are
if you have never seen them, and you are a fan of the original Halloween, you should really see the way he decided to tell some of these stories. Agreed. But yeah, I think Freddy kind of has to be there. He's starting the show. Freddy Krueger, the burnt pedophile, is starting it all off. Bobby Mack, Tammy says, "What's up? Nice set, bloody."
One more thing, thanks. One more thing about Freddy, real quick. Also, I mean, he had his own nursery rhyme. What's up, Bob?
Yeah,
his own nursery rhyme, right? 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you. 3, 4, better lock your door. 5, 6, grab a crucifix. 7, 8, better stay up late. 9, 10, you'll never sleep again. I mean, come on. He had his, and I remember it. That's kind of freaky. Bothered me back then, especially when sung by little children really slowly while he's like about to go kill somebody. That made it a little more freaky.
And you know, we're gonna pop back to the theme of the things that I think Ken is terrified of, and that's children having absolutely anything to do with a horror film. Which again,
not children overall. I'm not scared of children just walking down the street or anything. I'm just
no. Wait a minute. If you saw like a bunch of children just walking down the street, that wouldn't scare you, dude. Right away, I'd be like, "What the fuck is this?
What is going on at this playground? Why are all these things here now?" It's not that terrifying. Yes, as used in horror movies, absolutely.
We had to throw him on there. Same reason we have to throw this guy up there. Do you know what I mean? You know, Michael Myers, not, you know, yeah, I guess here he is using 1-800-COLLECT. That's a joke for anybody who's over 30. Thank you very much. Here is Michael Myers with something in his neck. The son of a bitch always has something sticking out of him, and fucking just keeps ticking, man.
Just kept going.
What's your take on Michael Myers? Mine is that while he is terrifying, and the old story was very scary, along with him and another famous villain, it pisses me off that he doesn't really have like a weak point where he dies, dude. Like, to me, that ends the terror of it, because there's absolutely no hope of you taking this person out. You just have to maybe find a new house that he doesn't know. I don't know.
That's basically it, yeah.
But as much as I love the series, and I love that's the reason why I love what Rob Zombie did with the franchise, because he told it from Michael Myers' point of view when he was a kid, growing up and what he went through and what caused him to be fucked up, because you just don't wake up and wanting to kill people.
Right. Absolutely.
Unless you work in food service. So I think he had to be on that list. What's your opinion on good old Myers?
Definitely was a movie that freaked me out, because here's a guy that you don't know anything about. That's pure mystery behind that mask, and that's why he was so freaky to me. The music too, my God. I mean, seriously, that music is just, you can play that anywhere in the dark at night, and I'm gonna be like looking for lights to turn on. That's just the music paired with just the way the movie was filmed, the original ones at least that I kind of remembered watching as a kid. They're dark, and they're just, they kind of, the neighborhoods remind you of your regular neighborhoods, and the houses, your regular houses. And then, these, the things that happen in these places, and the way Michael moves throughout so mysteriously, and just, like you said, he can't be stopped as well, just makes him to be a very, very spooky villain. And, definitely high on my list personally of all of them that affected me when I was younger, for sure, and even more so than well, we'll talk about that one later. I won't get into doing that, but yeah.
John Carpenter was the man back in the days. John Carpenter, he did the score for all this. He was just a badass. But there was just something about the fact that you couldn't get rid of him, and the fact that you couldn't get rid of this guy either.
That was the one I was going to say.
Good old Jason fucking Voorhees over here with, and again, I love what he was and what his story was. I didn't love the fact that he was what everyone would call invincible, or you didn't have a weakness. I will, however, say that if we're talking about the scariest horror villains, I'm going to go with Jason, but I'm going to go with our favorite, my friend. This one right here.
Yes.
I don't care what anyone says.
Before he got his mask.
If you give me a Jason Voorhees slamming through a window on your ass
with a pillowcase on
his freaking pillowcase with just one dude,
one hole.
He only needed one eye to fuck you up. And
that's a good call right there, actually. The pillowcase. I like that.
Oh my God, man. And it's from our favorite right here. This one right there. Yep. So, Friday the 13th Part 2 spawned. Everyone says in the movie world that it's the worst sequel. Obviously, you and I know better because of this right here. Do you know what I mean?
So good.
It's just the sack head, man. It gets me every time. There's something just so terrifying about it. It's like, dude, this is all I've got, right? I don't want you to see my face, but I don't want you to. I also don't want. I don't want anything that's going to be scary, really, in any way. I'm just going to put a sack on my head, which is 5 million times more terrifying, dude.
Right.
What do you think about Sackhead Jason, which is what I call him?
No, that's a great call. I didn't think of that. I mean, seriously, that is a much more freakier look than even that hockey mask looking at you, for sure. And that's kind of what I was going to get at with the mask thing with Mike Myers, and then the hockey mask with Jason. To me, that's scarier, man, with just a with just a bag on his head. When I was younger and used to terrify my sister, who's 2 years younger than me, one of my ideas one time was to stand outside her bedroom window with just a sack over my head, a brown paper sack over my head with nothing else on it. I just tapped on her window, and it's dark outside, and she freaked her the hell out, man. I mean, just that's a freaky look. Just any kind of just sack on a head, kind of not being able to see the face at all, not even able to make out anything. Mike Myers had the mask, and this Jason later on with the hockey mask as well, to at least cover the face directly, but not being able to see, directly into somebody's eyes, or just seeing that one eyeball, like you said, even freakier. Whoever's idea that was just fantastic. I mean,
so good, dude.
It's so really good, really, really, really good. So that's a great call with that, with the sackhead Voorhees before he gets the mask. And I like how they deal with everything, how he finds the mask when he puts that on, later on when he takes the axe to the head of the mask, and then they continue with the chip in the in the mask. There, you got it. You even got this shot, man. You're so good. It's great. You got our team here is just incredible. It's like I say it and it shows up, man. Anyway, Voorhees is absolutely at the top, because it was another one at the age that I was, and when I'm watching these films, that freaked me out. And certainly being in any wooded situation with a lake, it's not, God, it's all similar to Camp Crystal Lake, man. Every single one of them, every camp you can possibly go to. There's a lake out there and there's woods and God forbid similar cabins.
Yeah.
Oof. Yeah, no, I don't know about all that. That was another one of the things we did. I'm sorry, this is quick because it has to do with Friday the 13th. But my buddy Jay and I, we used to do this about Terrify my sister. He used to get in on it too. So what we did is we showed the scene where the girl was in the canoe at the end, and it was all quiet in the lake, and she's in the canoe all passed out. And we said, hey, Sarah, come here. I'll show you something. She's like, what's this? She hated scary things, anything scary. So we turned it on just before Jason jumped out as a child, jumped out of the water and pulled her in, which is a freaky scene in of itself. So my sister to this day, Sarah, if you're listening, I love you. I'm really sorry. But she says to this day that freaked her out. And for years, she said it messed her up as a kid. So that's a terrible story to tell. But it's just, older brothers, things they do to their younger sisters. And I did terrify her in that way. And sorry, Sarah. Love you.
I believe it's one of the original jump scenes. And Sarah, if you're out there, pay attention to what I'm about to say.
Uh-oh.
Sorry. I'm the baby in the family, so we're
he wants to get in on it a little bit.
I was always the butt of those. Damn it. Yeah, no, that was one of the, I think, if I think back, I probably am going to say that's probably the first jump scare that I ever had.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Because other than like my brother jumping out of some freaking, getting me in some way, the first movie jump scare I got, I think that was probably it.
And the murders also, to say real quick, between like Mike Myers and Jason Voorhees, the actual killings themselves, Mike Myers generally was coming up on you and he was going to get you. And yeah, there were a few of them where he'd sneak up and he'd get you from somewhere else. But I think Jason, that's what he was the best at. You knew he was coming at you, but then all of a sudden he's not there. And then there's the axe or whatever it might be. Some of the murders themselves are just spectacular. And that's what I think the Friday the 13th franchise has a little bit over the Halloween is just how spectacular, how grotesque, how real looking, just all of it, not real, obviously, but still to the point of what they were doing, and especially in the 80s and early 90s, whatever it was, is incredible. It really was. And to watch that stuff, I always felt like that part was much more gory and I guess freaked me out a little bit more, which I appreciated the Friday the 13th series a little bit more for that reason. 1 through 4.
Yeah. I think with the sack thing, he just kind of the way it's sort of roped. Like, see, the thing that a lot of people, I don't think when
really
they were
like
kids,
the sack.
They the things I don't think a lot of kids thought about. I think to myself, where was he when he decided to tie that like up in the front? Like, why didn't he do it on the side, or why didn't he do it behind him? Like, was he in front of something going? Because he obviously can't talk, right? He's been underwater for a long time. I don't know. Those are the weird things I was thinking.
He does tilt his head a lot, though.
Yes, he did. He enjoyed doing that shit for some reason. I don't know. But that was the puzzlement of it. Yeah, because, and again, let me go off on just a real quick tangent on this fucking Friday the 13th game I've been telling you about. They have all the different versions of Jason. You can have the one with the mask, the sack, and it's all 3 or 4 different scenarios. So every time you jump into a game, it may be from like Friday the 13th Part 2, or which I think is a lot of them. That one guy, Gary or Greg or whatever, he saves the day. He's a major part of it too. You have to link up with him. Like, dude, that game is so badass, man. You folks out there who are
we're selling it on our website. If you go check us out now, you can. Oh wait, no, we're not selling it. We didn't get that. We didn't get that deal. We were trying to get it. We didn't get it, but Bob's still going to promote that shit because he loves it.
Let me tell you, they were getting really close to putting a lot of time and effort into it, and right away, as soon as the person who owned the original rights to the original story sued the game company and said, I want a piece of this. And they were a small company, so they couldn't fight it. And they basically had to put out what was basically a half-ass game. So it could be a lot better. I'm not saying it's the greatest game. I'm just saying it's a really creative Friday the 13th game. Anywho, let's see. Who else do we have? Oh, here we go. Good old Pinhead. Pinhead from the Hellraiser. So you're saying you haven't seen Hellraiser.
So that's crazy. I was the one that kind of picked this one because when I was younger, again, this was someone that I saw, and I was like, whoa, what did that thing just freaked me out. It would just stick in my mind. I would have nightmares about that thing. And I didn't at all. Oh, Bob, you're into sacks, man. You did.
Where did that even
really
come from?
That was from earlier with the sack over the head.
Team.
You were with the
God
sack
damn
over the
it.
head. That's where it was coming from. Anyway,
damn it.
Yeah, she was following along. So,
no, I think that
this guy Pinhead freaked me out, and I don't think I've ever seen the movie. I may have. It would have been a long time ago.
I haven't either.
And I wouldn't remember anything about Hellraiser. But that dude, that face, that just freaked me out. That is all. We were talking villains and stuff like that. So I was like, you know what? Pinhead absolutely freaked me out. So I want Pinhead to be on there. No idea if the movie's any good. If it's scary, I guess it's got to be scary. It's called a horror movie. But yeah, that's Pinhead. He's on there.
Yeah, I know that Hellraiser, it's got something to do with that box he's holding right there. He's going to summon a lot of bad shit from it. And I was scared because I thought the pins were going outward. But even more fucked up is that they're going inward. I don't think
on this crisscross pattern all over his head.
I didn't catch that until much later in life.
We can move on, but he just had to be mentioned.
I think he's pretty freaky, man. He does. And look, and if you were Googling like top 10, horror film villains, we're doing right now,
he's going to be on there. He's
probably going to be on there. I've got one that maybe not a lot of folks know a hell of a lot. How's the name Otis Driftwood?
Oh wow.
Does that strike you? So here's the deal with my problem with Otis fucking Driftwood. All right, this guy right here is just a piece of shit asshole murderer. Okay, and here's the deal: you probably bumped into 7 or 8 Otis Driftwoods in your entire life, and that's the horrifying thing about this character because he could be anywhere in America. He's just. If you've seen the House of a Thousand Corpses series, I don't think I've even seen 3 from Hell yet, the third one. But he is absolutely terrifying in House of a Thousand Corpses. And I'll tell you right now, in The Devil's Rejects, the second one, he just doesn't give a fuck. He's even more terrifying. He's just one of those guys that he's going to kill you and he's going to fucking enjoy it. And with zero remorse at all, which is really, I think, what you get from the horror villains. And I think as we started getting older, horror movies started sort of drifting away from the macabre and the overtly dark themes and started injecting more reality into it, the reality-based shit, which when I talk about with, kids that are evil, that's a very weird, it's a little too close to real. And that's really what sends shivers up my spine. And the fact that Otis Driftwood could be at absolutely any truck stop I'm taking a piss at one day, it was what was very terrifying when it came to Driftwood and the rest of the family. What about you?
No, it's a good point you make. That's kind of what evolved how the horror characters evolved, even because that's even scarier. Because now instead of hiding behind that mask and being this, God knows what type of creature, here's just a regular kind of person. Definitely evil looking in his own right, but beyond that is what's going on in that guy's head. And it's death without remorse. It's everything he does without remorse. In fact, the more you grovel, the more you beg, the happier he's going to be with what he's about to do. And he'll probably do it slower. And you're right. People who haven't seen the House of a Thousand Corpses or Devil Reach, first of all, you should, because they're great. But this is a really good choice. I didn't know you were going to choose him, and I think it's a great pick right here, because you're right. This guy could resemble so many people, and you can meet this guy anywhere. And at the end of the day, you don't want to run into this guy because he's going to have no problem. He will kill you as soon as he has an opportunity. And that's a great call. Good call. Great movie. I want to see it. I haven't seen it in a while, man. I gotta check that out now.
He's wearing a shirt in one scene that says "Jesus loves you, I don't, fuck you," or something like that. It's just, oh my God, man. I don't know. He just, the things that he says in that movie, and that's what Zombie understood too when he's putting this together. That the more you make these 3 people be able, as fucked up as they are, all 3 of them are able to blend in to society in some way. Otis, Captain Spaulding, and Baby, they're all able to kind of get in there and with Spalding not so much, but when he's out of makeup. But they're there, and it plays on that whole little truck stop stranded in Texas. We always think it's Texas. I don't know about you, but I always think these things take place in fucking Texas. And considering I actually was able to see the original Texas Chainsaw House before it was torn down in Texas, was pretty badass. But yeah, it always taps into that whole, maybe why I don't like road trips. It's like, I don't know, man. Like, maybe tell me where we're going, man, and see if we can, if we get stranded, if we're going to be okay.
Right. As long as you can get from major stop to major stop, you're good. Yeah, Hannibal Lecter and Buffalo Bill. It's true. Good points. Yeah, definitely good.
Have you, and Tammy, I'll ask you this as well. Have you seen the TV show Hannibal?
Oh, no, I have not. She probably has. She watches all that kind of crazy stuff.
My God. Loves murder. Absolutely one of the best TV shows I've ever seen. It goes from the beginning of the first movie to Red Dragon, and it's absolutely amazing what they did with those characters. It's, oh my God, you need to see it. Anywho, yeah, the fact that these folks can be in your neighborhood is, I mean, it's bad enough this fucking guy's there and he's using your phone to make long distance phone calls. But then this guy shows up and he's stealing your beer and he's trying to find his way to put his fingers in you. And it's just a horrible situation. Otis Driftwood is a nasty, nasty, nasty creature. Who else do we have? Oh, we've got a nasty lass that I know you really you don't really love yourself here. Let's bring her up right here for you, buddy.
Oh God, man. Oh, this one definitely got me, man. And it was also the same kind of situation, where she just looks like a sweet lady. I mean, not there with the gun and the hypodermic needle, but before those points, this is just any lady that could live next door to you. And obviously, it was Kathy Bates' portrayal. I understand it's a Stephen King book. I'm sorry, I'm not a reader. My wife's a big reader. So she talks about how much more incredible the books are. I get it. And not all of them translate that well to the screen. And I know they don't all translate that well to the screen. For me, this one did. This movie was fantastic. I remember one summer I watched it, I think, 5 or 6 times, just that summer alone, over and over again, just because it freaked me out and I couldn't stop watching it for some reason. And don't think I've watched it since, but that freaked me out. This movie definitely freaked me out. She freaked me out. That ankle scene, that is just, that's terrifying. My ankles hurt thinking about it. Whew, yeah, it's just, she's interesting and scary all at the same time. So she belongs on the list. What do you think?
Yeah, I fucking think so. I mean, look, she's got the good old James Caan strapped in, man, ready to go. And for those who don't know or have not seen the movie, what happens right here is she puts a very large 2x4 in between the ankles of Mr. Caan and slams both of his ankles inward in something she calls hobbling, which is supposed to make you not move around, which, believe me, if you've ever sprained your ankle, you know how hard it is to move around, let alone get them sledgehammered in the opposite direction in which they're supposed to bend. So, yeah, I'm going to rub my legs real quick.
I'm doing that under my desk. Like, all this blood is all over the place, though. So
again, I know this is one of your choices, and it was not something I thought about right away, but this is another one of those tapping into the reality.
Yes.
You get stranded in the snow, and you just happen to fall upon a warm cabin, and actually, I don't think that's how that works. But at the same time, it's an anywhere America, anywhere that's cold anyway. And that's the terrifying part of it. And she was such a nice and sweet, oh, hi there, darling, don't even worry about it. Like she did play this very well, man. And I'm glad you mentioned her because she's fucking terrifying, man. I don't like it at all.
It's amazing how we've gotten into that, though. It's like we're sitting there showing all these freaky looking creatures and characters, but then as we get to what we find more scary are the ones that are more real, because it's true. Reality is what's scaring you more than looking at this stuff that you can just immediately in your head and say, okay, this isn't real. This is cool, but that's not happening, Right. That guy's not coming at me with all those pins in his head, and Freddy Krueger's arms aren't going to extend to 12 feet.
That was the best scene in the alleyway, dude. Like,
freaky, right?
It was so bad, but so good.
I know. It's like, dude, that's stupid and dumb and silly and
dude,
still
I could totally.
still gonna freak
I
me
can run
out.
under it. I'll run under your arm. It doesn't matter how long they are.
Like wrap you up or something, or do something. I don't know, man. It was weird. It was a freaky character.
That's a plot hole, dude. Plot hole. Guaranteed.
Plot hole.
But yeah, Kathy Bates as what was her name?
That's Annie Wilkes.
Annie Wilkes.
Annie Wilkes is the character, at least, that was in the novel. And I think she portrayed the same name. I'm pretty sure she played Annie Wilkes as in the movie as well. I could be wrong about that. I'm not the book guy, but that's how I understand it.
And I don't think that follows the sort of horror film.
Right.
But I think it would have been under a suspense thing, but no, man, it's
a
horror film.
I don't care. She freaked me out. She fucking freaked me out. That movie, that's what horror films should do. They should freak you out. So I don't care in which way they do it. There's many ways to freak people out, spook people, scare people, whatever. But yeah, the more real it is, I feel like certainly the more scary it is to most people.
And freaky is definitely what we're rolling into on this one right now, because the initial iteration of this particular horror creature villain was a little bit more tame back when it was a TV series. But good old Pennywise from It, yeah, man, let me tell you, dude, the new version of It is absolutely not fucking cool in any way. Like, terrible. Dude, I was watching the second one, and at the very beginning, those two guys, one of them just fucking gets eaten by him, and I'm just like, dude, I the way that they shoot that, like, there's a big giant one, and then he's small and dancing. Dude, they really got me really good with that movie, dude. Like, Pennywise, this version of Pennywise is absolutely fucking terrifying to me, dude, and I love it, man. What do you think about this?
So the thing is, clowns, man.
Clowns.
Yeah. It's crazy because at one point in my life, I was going to these big Halloween things and like outdoor parties. So I was living in Tampa, and there's a place called Ybor City, and they do a thing called Guavaween, and everybody gets dressed up and goes up and down the street. So when I was going to school at USF, we used to do this all the time. I think 2 out of the 4 years I was there, would just dress up as the clown. I didn't like the clowns. It freaked me out. So that's why I thought it'd be perfect for me to be the clown. So I would wear this clown mask and this clown outfit. But the thing was, I wouldn't say a word to anybody. Not that it was no fun to go with to these parties because I didn't talk to anybody. So people just go with me and be like, yeah, I talked to him a little bit on the way or whatever. But then I would just be out there saying nothing to anybody. And it'd freak everybody out. Everybody would get people coming up and down with it. Oh, hey, they want to talk to me. I wouldn't say a word. And just sitting there as a silent clown with a freaky looking clown face is a really, really scary thing. So I just did that for me because I didn't want to see it myself. So I just became that clown. But this dude is definitely freaky. And Pennywise, I don't care which iteration of it, all of them are freaky. And clowns in general are freaky. That's freaky. You don't need to see that. It's just not normal. It's certainly not something that should be at kids' parties. I never understood that. Clowns are crazy. They're weird. They're odd.
Tim Curry, man, his version of it was, he really had that overacting thing down well, but he sort of, he didn't do it so much in this movie, right. and that's what really made it so fucking terrifying, because he very much was like, "Hey, Georgie, come here, Georgie," like he was like, you could sort of trust him, and that's what happens when you trust a clown. You're going to get eaten by the motherfucker.
Anybody generally in full makeup. I mean, I don't, whether it's the clown or Gene Simmons. I mean, you just can't trust people in full makeup, man.
Yeah, there's something up their sleeve. Gene definitely had a lot of things up their sleeve.
Tammy Faye Baker. I mean, there's a lot of them with a lot of makeup, and you just can't trust any of those people. None of them.
Yeah.
None of them. Take off the makeup, folks.
I definitely think Pennywise is up there with the creep factor.
Take that down. Come on, man. There's visions in my head now.
So good. It's
too close to bedtime.
So what about this guy right here who also made our list?
What do you got? Oh yeah, look at that guy.
Jigsaw.
I don't like that guy. That guy is that's all he is. For me, it's just a voice. It's not. It's that's Jigsaw to me right here. I mean, but he's a puppet. He's a little tiny thing. But at the end of the day, it's the voice. You do it very well, actually. That sounded very good. But that's the part. That's what got me with all these Saw movies. It has. I mean, because he's the best character. He doesn't have to freaking hardly lift a finger once his game is set and everybody's ready to go. He has a very simple job. But in watching those movies, that's the thing that freaks you out the most. He's almost like a godlike creature because he doesn't have to really physically do anything. Everything's being done within the traps kind of he's set and the game he's set up. And then it's just hearing that voice coming through and knowing that he's in control of everything that's going on. That perception, just as a viewer, it's like it gets spooky to watch something like that. So these are newer movies, I guess, compared to some of them that we're talking about now. But the Saw series and a number of them, I can't tell you which ones I've seen. 1, 7, 3, I don't know. But for the most part, they're pretty good. You can watch any of them. I think they're all pretty similar. They're going to have a few different things going on, and if you like that kind of stuff, I've probably seen 2 or 3 of them. And they were entertaining, but they freaked them out. You've seen them all?
I have seen them all. I've seen every one of them, dude. I'm a massive fan of the Saw series, dude.
That's awesome. I should. I mean, like I said, I've never seen a bad one, but I just I haven't watched. They kind of freak me out too. So I'm not quick to jump on seeing another Saw movie, but they are awesome, and it is totally that voice.
The thing that they did nail it. It's I want to play your game. I think.
Who's the actor? It's Tobin Bell. Tobin Bell. That's right.
Yeah, there we go. There. Good call, man. Good call.
That dude got the voice right.
And he's just it's just that he just played it very slow, low and somber. And so here's the deal, they paint him as somebody who's twisted. You find out he's got cancer, he's dying. You find out the reason why he's got cancer. The family, there's always this motivation, and it's sort of like. And I don't really want to make the comparison, but honestly, it makes sense if you think about it. Jigsaw and Dexter are probably more closely related than really any characters than you might think of, because their motivation behind what happens to these victims is not really because they're trying to punish someone because they want to punish people. They're doing it because these people fucked up and did some really fucked up things in their life and are going to pay the price for it. Whether they, got millions of dollars out of somebody or killed somebody over a long period of time, Jigsaw finds that shit out, and he puts you in a trap where you have to dig behind your retina with a scalpel to get a key out to unlock the thing that's on your head. Like, dude, and it's what we used to play these games, and I know you had to do it because I did it with Jay. We all did it when we were younger. We went to these extremes, like, would you do this? Like, what if you had this, and this movie put all of those fucked up things into a movie and said, here, I'm going to visually throw this at you. Like, you're going to have to bite through your tongue in order to fill this cup up with blood so it's heavy enough for the latch to pop down. You know what I mean? Like, right. What the fuck, dude? Like, but it was always a bunch of really nasty people that were getting rounded up to have this stuff happen to them. So we didn't feel bad, which is another reason why I always kind of felt like this guy got a little bit of a bad rap, although, he was out there willingly put people in mousetraps and shit.
Nah, sure. Good point. No, definitely great movies, man. And he's right up there because of it. All for the voice. It's one of the few that it's just the voice. It's nothing else at all. It's not the doll. It's not him. It's that voice.
And, you get that. You just wake up. It's a terrifying thing. The first one's they started getting progressively darker. And then after he was gone, the people who started taking over his legacy, that started getting a little weird. I think it lost the mainstream when it, like when we're talking like, 5 was actually really good, but I really love the original 2 or 3 of them because that's when they stayed within the limits of Jigsaw being alive. And, you always wanted to see people get their due, pay their dues because that's what it is. And he always sort of he always did what the cops and the hospitals couldn't do. Right. Which was fine justice in some ways. So, Jigsaw's got to be on there, man.
Playing God, man. Playing God.
Yeah. So, yeah. Well, who else we got? Oh, we got this guy right here. Does anybody know the name Bruce? Dun, 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 dun.
Good old Bruce.
I'm glad you mentioned Bruce, the shark from Jaws, man.
The animated shark from Jaws.
Oh, Roy Scheider, man, in a great scene, and just an absolute look at the unrealism in that right there. First of all, if you know anything about sharks, you know that eye would be rolled back right now. But this shark, he decides he's going to keep his eyes open when he breaches water because if Bruce doesn't give a shit. No. Bruce doesn't fucking care, dude. Look at what they're doing to Bruce, man.
Like he's nothing.
Who's this guy, dude? He's not Glenn Fry from the Eagles.
Like I could dive right on in there. Yeah, I mean, look, when you're going to talk about horror, villains, I'm still scared to this day being in any kind of water where I can't see the bottom and my feet are dangling. And it's because of this movie. It's because of Bruce.
It's lasting, man. That's a lasting impression.
I honestly, it's just they have to be there. The shark has to be there, man, because for my entire life to this day, I don't want. I will do it. I'll jump out into the water. There's some people out there, but I won't be out there long. I'll do it for a little bit. I'm jumping right back in again. I'd much rather be in a space where I can see the floor. If I can see the floor, I'm good. And it's because of this guy. So of all of this, like I still go to sleep at night, even though I was scared of Freddy Krueger, and I'll still go camping in the woods, even though I was scared of Jason and all of this stuff. But I really won't be in the water where I can't see the bottom, and it's because of that dude right there. So they win. The Sharks win again. So Mother Nature, man. Mother Nature.
I was recently in Central Florida, Crystal River, and we took a fishing boat out into the ocean. And I didn't think we were going to do this, by the way. So we planned this fishing trip, and we made sure we talked to the captain. We told the captain, look, we want to fish in the flats in shallow waters. All of us agreed to this, okay? Most of us agreed for pretty much the same reason you and I are talking about right now. But for some reason, he just kept driving the boat, and we were okay with it. We didn't tell him to stop. But we went out into the middle of the ocean, and I was already like, "Oh shit!" And so we were next to I think a wrecked ship near a sandbar. So there was a sense of land at least near us. However, I had to pee so bad, and everyone was like, "Dude, just jump in the water." And I'm like, "Oh, so you think that's what a motherfucker's gonna do, right? Oh, so you just want me to jump in the water, right? Like everyone does that." And they're like, "What are you talking about?" I go, "You're out of your fucking mind, dude." I go, "I'm just going to pee into myself right now is what's going to happen because I'm not putting my body in that fucking water." And what I did was I got on the side and I sort of squatted. I know. Well, I didn't. Here's the deal. They had that little ladder and they wanted me to put my feet on the ladder, which it was in the water. I'm like, "It ain't happening, homie." So I just squatted and I sat there for like 3 minutes. I was just thinking of shark, hammerhead. What shark's going to be next to a sandbar? Probably a nurse shark. I could not pee. I said, "You know what? Fuck it. Let's just go, dude." We eventually drove. And I think probably about 45 minutes later, I was just fishing and we were catching fish and I was able to pee off the boat. All right. Yeah, I said it.
Yes,
but they kept telling me to dangle my feet in the water as if that was something normal fucking people did. And
they do.
Let me tell you, I'm not normal.
Most people do that. Yeah, no, we are on the smaller group of people that won't do stuff like that, especially having being born here and raised here. I'm still here. I still don't do that. I love the ocean though, but in a safe spot. Yeah, I get it.
All right.
Yes, seen a lot of stuff too.
Well, we got a lot of our villains out of the way. I think we've covered all of them. I'm going to tell you my number one, and if you were with us last week, you'll understand why I'm about to say what I'm going to say right now. My number one scariest horror villain to me, Bloody Bob Riley, is the house from the Amityville Horror.
That's
all
awesome.
right, so if we're going to sit here and say that really any sort of entity in the world can do whatever the hell it needs to do, this house terrified me for so long. Forget about Jody the pig that they saw in the window, okay? That wasn't even the scary part, man. This house took on a life of its own, man. There was just something about it. Now, granted, the original house and the house that you see in the movie are in two different places. I believe this is the Toms River, New Jersey house, but it doesn't really matter. If you've seen the movie, you know that the actual house is what screws with the family and terrifies the family. We know that it's spirits and ghosts and all this shit, but it's the home that's doing stuff. It's the home that's bleeding. It's the home that's saying, "Get out." It's the home that's slamming doors and producing flies that don't belong anywhere near freezing temperatures. But there was just something about it. And I think we can all say that it's the red eyes of this Dutch colonial that I always assumed this was the front of the house, but it's not. It's the side. It didn't really make a lot of sense to me, but this movie, man, oh my God, dude, it did a number on me just like Jaws did. And I don't know. I think they came out the same year, if I'm being honest, or within the same time frame. But the original Amityville Horror House, not the remake with Ryan Reynolds, which, by the way, was not a bad. It wasn't a bad remake. They just messed with the storyline too much. Purists of the original movie would know that Jodie was an imaginary figure. It wasn't the daughter, which is I guess what they did in that remake. But yeah, the house from the Amityville Horror is a scary ass villain to me, and I think it qualifies, man. What do you think?
I mean, definitely entities certainly should be able to, because that is a spooky looking one and definitely freaked me out quite a bit. Similar to the Poltergeist house and stuff. So I mean, I could see you going with something like that, and definitely, being something that would freak you out like that. No doubt, definitely. Amityville. It was funny because when you mentioned Amityville last week, I hadn't thought of it for some reason. I don't know why I let that get past me, but absolutely, man, scary movie, and 100% having to do with that ridiculous, beautiful Dutch colonial. By the way, it is a beautiful home, though. They got a really good deal on it itself, right? I bet you could.
They got a great deal on it. I think it's going for about $800K right now. Like I said, I'm a big fan of it. I'm in the loop every time that comes up. Which, by the way, it used to be 112 Ocean Avenue. That was the actual address of the Amityville Horror House. Mm-hmm. They actually changed it on Google. It's 118. My bad. Sorry. Everybody knows that now. But it keeps popping up. Like every 6 years or so, someone gets out of there for some reason, and it goes.
Because the house tells you to get out. So I mean, you can't be there for that freaking long. It's eventually it wins.
6 years, get out. Like, oh shit! All right, now we're going.
I'm sick of this shit. I'm out of here, man.
Yeah. For God's sake, man. And they changed the windows a long time ago. The windows are square now. There's they did a lot. People over the years have done a lot cosmetically to this house that have lived in it, because they were so sick and tired of people driving up in droves and standing out and taking pictures or stealing pieces of the house and Like, that's how fanatical it was. It was such a big piece of American horror, one of the original American horror stories. That's probably the reason why, man. And as I got older, I realized the story was probably bullshit, but it didn't matter. There was still something very scary about this, man. And it was always fucking raining. Why? You guys definitely could have seen the sign, dude. There was a lot of shit that was telling you right away you shouldn't be living here.
Right.
You should definitely renege on the entire situation. But
get out.
That's what I think would happen with the family. To be honest, in real life, they were like, "This is too much house, and we can't make this payment because I'm an alcoholic."
It's time to go.
So you've got a number one.
I do, man.
Scariest horror villain.
Why not?
Let's peer down the eyes of this little fella right here, man. Why don't you say go introduce to your friend your friend Norman.
Norman Bates. I mean, Psycho obviously is a movie that I think at my age, certainly when I saw it, the movie obviously came out, I think in the late 50s, early 60s or something. But when I saw it sometime in the early 80s or so, this movie freaked me out because I was, again, looking at a dude that looked like one of my friend's dads. And it was just like a regular guy that you're going to trust and you could just talk to, and he's cool. And again, at that age, when you're young, you want to be a little more trusting of people. And this guy looked like, and not picture, you got him freaking spooky looking there. But I mean, for the most part, he's your everyday looking dude. Obviously, anyone that tells you, that the way that he acts, I'm sorry, my mind just went in a different spot, but in the way that he acts, you're not going to suspect it to turn into that. When I watched this movie, I didn't know it was a horror movie. I honestly had no idea what I was watching, just because I was too young to really even understand what I was looking at, to be honest with you. So this movie freaked me out because this guy freaked me out. I couldn't take showers anywhere where there was like shower curtains. I had to leave the curtain open a little bit so that I could see through. To this day, I like to have, something I could see through, transparent glass doors, something like that. So showering is something you do every day as well. So this guy screwed that up for me, just like the darn Jaws and the ocean and this freaking guy and showers. Once again, these are things you do every day. And it freaked me out. So Norman Bates, he gets my number one horror dude, just because of what he did to me at such a young age, is what I'll say. That's really why I'm putting him up there. Not really the shower thing. I'm not really like that with the shower thing. I just threw that in there for make it sound like I'm a little more fucked up. I don't do that. Whatever. Shower is a shower. If I get killed in a shower, it could be worse places, right? It's pretty clean,
I think so. It's a clean, yeah. But you know, and I think that the cool thing about that is that you didn't really see anything back then. So there was not. It was the score, the music,
right,
that was making
right.
the sound of the
hinting
penetration
you.
of the knife,
Yes.
and all you saw was like the the rungs being pulled off of the shower curtain. That's how you know that was the finality of her death.
Right.
So Hitchcock was really smart how he made sure these things were portrayed. And here's another little amazing tidbit right here. So this lady right here, Janet Leigh, right? That's her name. Did I get that right? Jesus Christ, so. I hope I did. Just happens to be the mother of Jamie Lee Curtis, and I think she just dressed like this for the premiere of Halloween Kills, the new movie. So she gave a shout out to her mother, who got murdered in Psycho, which is crazy if you think about it. How she became like synonymous with horror films and Halloween, Jamie Lee Curtis. But yeah, man, Psycho was one of those I don't think I caught until much later.
Right.
I don't really know why. I think maybe because I was just like,
well, the story. I mean, the story is good. And when I was young and I watched that, no idea. I wasn't really able to grasp all of that and who he was and what he was doing and why he was doing it. When I learned that later and watched it, really, to me, it was even more interesting because of, just especially with how freaking wacko that dude was and kind of how I thought he was when I was little and didn't really get all that. And I just saw him as, oh, what a nice looking dude. And all of a sudden, whoa, why is that man doing that? So now I can't trust my friend's dad anymore. And that kind of was a little weird. But later on, when you kind of watch that movie and you understand the mind, of Norman Bates, that's where you get some trouble right there. And Mom, if you're listening, I love you. But generally, any grown man that says his mom is his best friend there's gonna be a little bit of a problem there. But I love you, Mom.
It's a problem.
You're my second best friend.
Yeah, and I'm still trying to figure out exactly how this house in my mind led this guy to do this. But I don't know. Whatever. It was actually hallucination in that movie. He didn't really hit her in the head with the axe.
But it's cool to see. Thank you for the visual there. That was nice.
Anytime, man. Anytime.
A little extra blood in here is all we need.
By the way, I want to say what the hell to our friends at Facebook.
Oh my God! Again with this.
We are consistently and continuously getting hit with copyright infringement because of Dr. Brian's intro. I know for a fact he made it. I know for a fact it's an original score, but I'm getting copyright hits every time. Matter of fact, I guarantee I'm going to get one tonight for this one. It gets blocked, here's the crazy thing. The reason why we don't have a lot of interaction on Facebook sometimes is because it automatically will get blocked. So it says that we're going to go live and then we just don't go live. So and only a few people see it because they think we're stealing this music. It's so fucking crazy.
They do. And we have to fight them and then tell them it's not. And then they say, oh, yeah, no, you're right. You're right. It's like, how many times, can you put a little something on, hey, we checked these guys already. Okay, that music's good. And I get it. Probably 90% of the time they are right. Probably most podcasts are stealing music or whichever, but we don't. So sorry for that inconvenience when it happens.
It happens to our brother BG over there at the Build Different group.
What's up to those guys, by the way?
Yeah, he plays music in the background, but he's also an ambassador for Sirius XM. So that's all he says to them. And he gives them a little code because he plays music in the background. And that's what I've always wanted to do.
Right.
I can't do it because I don't know the rights to the music. But if you're an ambassador for Sirius or some of these other streaming services, you'll be able to get away with it. But you still have to go through a dispute period. So that's what we're going to deal with. So the other horror villain is horror. Mark. I'm just kidding.
Mark Zuckerberg. That's a good one. I was going to say that's perfect. The worst person in the world.
So for you folks who decided you weren't going to watch the beginning of the show and just wait for the last 7 minutes, we'll throw at you who we think the greatest horror villains are. We're going to give you a little bit of "I'm your boyfriend now, bitch." Freddy Krueger. We're going to go with Jason Voorhees, but not that Jason. This Jason. Yes, indeed. We had to get Michael Myers on there because that's just one of those things. He had to make the list. We threw an Otis Driftwood. How you doing, son of a bitch? That guy, he's a real asshole, and he's just sort of that everyman asshole. We got this guy right here coming at your face. He's gonna bite your neck. Yeah, good old Pennywise. And we got Pinhead from the Hellraiser series. Yes,
just because he has pins on his head.
Definitely freaky. Good old Bruce from the movie Jaws, man. Still, dude.
Bruce really is the name of the animated Jaws creature that they like kept around in like museums and stuff for quite some time. So we didn't just make that up. His name's Bruce.
His name's Bruce. Google that shit.
It's verified, bro.
Juggle it, whatever you got to do. All right, we've also got good old Kathy Bates in Misery. More terrifying than anything. She'll bake you muffins and then she'll hobble your fucking ankles.
Yes, she will.
Make sure that you can't get away. So
those muffins will be good, though.
They will. I bet you they will. So good.
Mm-hmm.
So good.
She can cook.
Yeah. I want to play a game. So we got Jigsaw hanging out with us as well. I believe he makes the list as well as his little spiral cheeked freaking puppet that maybe he carved. I don't fucking know. He has a lot of time, dude. He
does.
If he can make those steel traps, the reverse bear traps and shit.
I mean, paper mache in itself, it takes a little time, but I mean, he did some good work with that. It's not bad. It looks a lot better than the stuff I used to make in art.
I decided that my scariest horror villain was the actual house in the Amityville Horror. Yeah, not cool. I'll get hit with a copyright for that. I better not finish that.
Go into it.
That's Lalo Schifrin's score from the Amityville Horror. And Ken Man decided that this guy, the everyman, Norman Bates, who decides that he wants to dress up as his mother and murder the mother of Jamie Lee Curtis. I don't know what problem he had with her, but there was a problem. You're right.
With all women, they were bad and dirty and evil. He was a weird man.
I think with the with the exception of a couple, the more terrifying situations have always been with reality. With the terrifying things that are just so close to reality.
True.
I don't love it, man. I don't love a lot of these things. Again, like you said, the kids and The Shining, and
I'm sorry, but you mentioned the kids, and I know we didn't mention it all was, and he didn't scare me at all. It was like more funny, but Chucky, from the Chucky movie, right? I mean. It's like the first one they tried to actually make it scary, and after that they realized that people were more laughing at some of that stuff. But there was some freaky stuff going on in that first one, and that's for sure. But that was a doll, so it's a little different than necessarily. But there was a kid involved, so in that show still. So I don't know, man. That one might have got me a little bit. I was thinking about that guy, but I guess it got so comedic that it just wasn't scary anymore, and I just kind of went away from it after that,
How about this one right here? Anybody? Can you get what that is?
From The Omen? Is that
it's from The Omen? It's Damien
from The Omen. Yes, that is another one that absolutely freaked me out. So for sure, he could be on that list. These are good honorable mentions here, Dan, but definitely Damien, man.
That's my brother Bill right there. We see. Here's the deal. The reason why a lot of these movies had a lasting effect on me is because I had an older brother who slept right next to me we had those trundle beds. So it was basically like, I don't know if I was above or below, but it was we shared the same room for years until my older brother moved out. He took that room. But these fucking movies, they didn't just stop when we stopped watching them. We've screwed with each other throughout the night, trying to terrify each other as much as we could. Right. Finding the perfect time to turn on like a red-eyed toy and swing it in someone's face, dude, like when they were sleeping. Dude, we did our best to really, really try and terrify each other, man. So that Amityville thing and all that
stuff. I would do that outside my sister's door all the time, just freaking her out with all types of stuff. I'm terrible. That was so bad. I'm sorry, Sarah. I really love you. Children of the Corn. That was a good one, too.
He wants you to, Malachi.
Yeah. Malachi. Yeah, that was a freaky one. Yeah, I watched it recently though. It's kind of weird. That guy doesn't have lasting power, I don't think.
But the hard thing is a little bit seeing that old redhead guy a little bit later ask if you came in his burrito in an episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. So I mean, for instance, did you come in my burrito? Like, dude, you were that guy in Children of the Corn. I fucking know it, dude. Like, yeah, it's so. Yeah, that was the only movie that he was in, and you know what other movie he was in? Colors. He played the only white Mexican gangbanger in the LA movie Colors. He talked with the slang and everything. It was hilarious. I guess they just needed a white actor in the gang, and they got Malachi to do it.
You are just filled of just crazy information like
my head's gonna explode.
It has all over the place. It's like
Lord.
God.
Well, anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thanks again for hanging out with us tonight. Yeah, happy October. We're going to do something freaky next week. Apparently, we're going to keep doing it until I find a house to move into. So we've got the studio is the only thing left upstairs in the loft. So it's going to be the last thing to be moved out. Hopefully, we can keep everything rolling. But I thought we did a great job tonight, man. I think all of those. I'm just saying those are fucking terrifying creatures that I get to go to sleep now and think about before I go to bed, which is going to be awesome.
It's perfect. It's perfect. That's why we do these things at this time of night. What time is it? All right, cool, perfect. Hey, our show, yay!
It's a little later for you right now, but anyway, thank you so much for Tammy for coming and hanging out. Brandy, everyone who decided to hang. Canaman Goat, I saw that you got bumped or something. You might have gotten shadow blocked. I don't know. If you spam our chat, that's definitely what will happen, though, for sure. Bobby Mack came by to say what's up. Thank you so much. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for the comments too, and we'll see you guys next week. We don't really know what we got going on, but it's going to be something.
It'll be something.
Yeah,
I promise you, it'll be something, or it'll be nothing at all.
Yeah, we might do a fishing episode. We don't know.
But come check it out. You never know. Fishing. I like that idea. I like it.
You guys take care.